documenting that trip, highlighting just what a security and humanitarian crisis Joe Biden created at our border. And, of course, a COVID super spreader of all super spreaders. Take a look.
We're down in the southwest border of the Rio Grande Valley, and we are seeing children and families who are suffering as a result of political decisions Joe Biden made.
Joining us now with reaction, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, first I applaud you, Ron Johnson, Tom Cotton, Lindsey Graham. There were 18 of you. Thank you for doing what you did. And you would not be intimidated when I guess somebody worked for Joe Biden's administration tried to demand you stop filming. Why don't you, in your own words, tell America what you saw and what we're looking at?
Well, so last Thursday and Friday, I brought a group of 19 senators down to the border in Texas, to the Rio Grande Valley. We started the trip Thursday night by joining the Border Patrol agents for their 10 p.m. muster. All of us took the chance to tell them thank you, particularly at a time when they're not getting the support from their political superiors. I think it was important for them to know that we love them and we're grateful for the bravery they show every day. We then joined them on their midnight patrol. We went out, we encountered caravans of illegal immigrants walking up the trails coming north from the Rio Grande River. We saw little kids walking, some of them walking alone. We saw young mothers carrying infants and nursing them as they walked along the trails. And they all went to the first processing facility that CBP has set up. It's outside, it's underneath a highway bridge, and it consists of a series of outdoor pens where the kids and the moms were just sitting or lying on the floor. They get processed and they get sent through. The next day we went to where they get sent, which is the Donna facility. The Donna is this gigantic tent city. It is massive. It was designed to hold 1,000 people, but with COVID restriction, its capacity is only 250. When we toured the Donna facility, there were over 4,000 people crammed into there. These are the Biden cages. For 4 years, we heard Democrats in the media screaming about kids in cages under Donald Trump. What they didn't admit is Barack Obama built the cages, and Joe Biden is building new cages, and they're bigger and they're more full. Kids were packed in there. It was at a 1,500% capacity level, and the COVID positivity rate in that facility is about 10%. And there, I took a number of photographs, I took a number of videos, because the Biden administration refused to allow the media in. Sean, you sent a camera team down so that Fox News would be able to film what happened there. And the Biden team said no media. Mind you, the Trump administration allowed media in. The Obama administration did. The George W. Bush administration did. The Bill Clinton administration did. But not Biden. They desperately wanted to cover it up. And as you noted, Biden did send a political minder, a woman who said she was the senior advisor to the commissioner of CBP, who jumped in front of my phone, blocked the shot, and began berating senators, saying, you can't take these pictures. And I believe the American people have a right to know what's happening, and Joe Biden should not have the ability to cover it up and hide the inhumane treatment, the public health menace he's creating, and the national security crisis his policies have created.
Let me ask you a legal question. If I had a facility that I was running for children and it looked like that, do you think I could legally be charged with abuse of children? One. Number two, second legal question. If somebody is not in this country legally and I assist them in coming across the border into the U.S., would I be aiding and abetting in a crime?
Both of those questions are very possibly yes. In terms of a facility like this, if you had a school, if you had a child care, if you had any facility that takes care of kids, that was even a fraction of what the Biden administration has set up, you'd be shut down. The public health authorities would go after you. You would be fined. You might even be prosecuted. You know, these cages that the kids were in, they weren't 6 feet apart. They weren't 3 feet apart. They weren't even 6 inches apart. They were literally lying on the floor. There are no beds, there are no cots, lying on the floor side by side, touching, huddled under reflective aluminum foil emergency blankets.
No, this is
we saw about a dozen boys that morning who
in the middle of
a pandemic. Just that morning, a dozen boys had tested positive for COVID, and they keep putting them in these locations. By the way, yesterday I went to Dallas to a different facility, the Kay Bailey Hutchison facility, which is the convention center downtown. They've turned into an emergency detention center, and there's one gigantic room. It is the size of 3.5 football fields, so it's massive. The entire room is nothing but cots, one after the other, over 2,200 cots lined up in a room 3.5 times the size of a football field, nothing but teenage boys, ages 13 to 17. This is the Biden crisis. He is responsible, and the important thing to understand is it was political decisions Joe Biden made that caused this crisis, 3 in particular. The week he got sworn in, he halted construction of the border wall, he reinstated the failed catch and release policy, and he ended the Remain in Mexico international agreement, which had stopped this. Last year, we had the lowest illegal immigration in 45 years. Right now, today, we have the highest illegal immigration in 20 years. It was preventable, and it's Joe Biden's fault.
Senator, I can't thank you enough because they prevented the media from going in. Our cameras were not. But the only reason we have this video in large part is because of you sharing it with the American people. Thank you for that. And also making Americans aware about it. And what is happening here, American people need to see, and they need to lift the gag order on Border Patrol agents also. Senator, I thank you. It's sad, but this needs to end. Those policies, those 3 policies need to be reinstated. All right, good job, Senator Ted Cruz.